Okay. Are we up and running? Yay. Well, welcome everyone. We are the Single Mom KC. I am Lori. I am the program director. And I just like to welcome again everyone here at Life Mission Church in Kansas City, Kansas. Our other moms watching from Colonial Church. I'll be with you guys next month. And then those of you that are just watching us on our YouTube channel, welcome single moms. Whether this is your first time or you're with us all the time, we're glad to have you here. And this is just such a special, we take a break from our monthly program. This is called Pursuit, if this is the first time you're watching. And we take a break in July and we kind of rest and we get ready for the next semester, but we sure do miss all of you in that month. So we are excited to be with all of you tonight. Before we get started, I just have some announcements that I want to go over. And if this is your first time, you can join us in person. Go to our website, www.thesinglemomkc.org, and you'll find the link to register to come and be with us the first Wednesday in September. So as we begin the school year, we always in August do a parenting message. And so that's what we're doing tonight. We're celebrating the new school year. Moms, are you celebrating? School is about to start? Yeah. We celebrate a little bit that school is out for the summer, but by now y'all are ready for them to go back, right? Yes. So if you're in person with us, I want you to take the green folder that you have tonight and know if you're just watching that if you email us, you can gain access to all of our handouts and all the materials from every month. And so moms, you that are with us, you'll notice on the left side of your folder is your take-home journal activity that ties in with tonight's message. We always give you something to do to help you to really incorporate the tools that Jody, our speaker, is going to share with you tonight. Behind that is an overview of what our children are doing, and they are dealing with the same topic we have tonight, which is how do we deal when we're anxious or afraid, but they're doing it at their level, at their age-appropriate level. So, and then if the front page with Jody's pretty picture on it, that's our journal piece. If you'll just turn that over, I just want to highlight some of our upcoming programs. For those of you that attend in person, I do want to let you know, as some of you found out this month, we are filling both locations sometimes almost a week before Pursuit. So if you want to be guaranteed to be a part of it, go ahead and use that QR code and register tonight for September 2nd. It's so cool. Here at Life Mission, Pastor Kwan just shared a message of the peace of Christ in our hearts. And that's just a really good segue because our topic for September is being grounded in peace as a single mom. And I am super excited to announce our speakers for next month. It is a panel of 3 single moms. Essence Allen, who is sitting right here. Stacy McKinley, who is on vacation with her grandson, but is usually over at Colonial, and Noelle Carroll, who we are so excited to welcome back into community. She's been out battling a little cancer, and she's won this past year. Yep. So those 3 will be sharing with you things that they've learned in their healing journey, in their growth journey, in their time with the Single Mom KC, and we'll give you some tips and guidance on how to walk in peace no matter what is going on. And I know all 3 of the women, and all 3 of them have messy lives, but they've figured out how to find their way back to peace in the messiness, so I know you're going to just love that. If you are familiar with us, you know that we invite you along in a journey after you've been at Pursuit, our monthly program, for a while, get to know us. We invite you along in a journey of growth and healing through what we call our program pathway workshops. And we ask that you go through them slowly and intentionally, and one leads to another. So if you have completed our Victim to Victorious workshop, and you still have children in the home, any age, we would love to have you at Raising Victorious Kids. And that is Saturday, September 12th. And you can sign up at that QR code. But Raising Victorious Kids does build its next steps for Victim to Victorious. So you've got to do that workshop first. And you're like, oh, haven't done it yet. Well, guess what? In November, we've got Victim to Victorious, and you can sign up for that. We just so happen to have the creator and the leader sitting in as a facilitator at a table tonight. Dawn Ambler is with us over here. We'll welcome her back. One of our other first step workshops is Healing from Your Heart Wounds, and that is a trauma healing weekend. It's just an incredibly powerful workshop that takes you step by step to identify and then to find tools to move forward in your journey of healing. And now let me tell you, trauma is just a significant life change. So if you have changed jobs, if your kids have changed, you've moved, and then if you've had other really, really hard things in life, it's all trauma. So all of us are really invited into that. So you can register for that. The only thing is, it is the absolute only thing the Single Mom KC does that does not include childcare. We're sorry about that, but to have kids Friday night from 5:30 to 9 and Saturday from 8:30 to 6 is just too long to keep them, kind of contained in a church room, even with activities. So we encourage you to get childcare. We also have a partner organization, Safe Families for Children. If you might be interested in exploring them to see if they would be available to watch your children so you can go through that workshop, just let me know, and I'll connect you with Safe Families for Children. Or over in Life Mission, let Pam or Joyce know, and they'll let me know, and we'll get you connected with Safe Families for Children. So those are just some upcoming things. The other thing I want to highlight in your packet, Jody might bring this up, but you at the end of her talk, you're just going to want more of Jody. And so on your table is a card with a QR code, and you can sign up for her newsletter. And I click that QR code, and it looks like there's a little treat and prize that you can get just for signing up for her newsletter. So that's available for you as well. So take a breath, because the school year is about to begin. And that has its really good things, but it also can be just a time of tension and anxiety. Your child might be anticipating or fearful. Some of your kids are moving on to another school or just a new grade experience. Even coming off a summer, maybe they've been with you. Maybe you work at home and they've been with you throughout the day, and to just be separated from you. All of those things can create a lot of tension and anxiety and fear, not only in them, but in us as well as parents, right? And so we have invited Jody Maddox to equip all of us tonight in how to care for children and our teenagers. And I think you're probably even going to hear some things that you're like, oh, that will work for me in our journeys. And Jody first came to us as a speaker a year ago. We invited her in to speak in our August Pursuit. And I know that I know a lot of you in this room, Jody led us in navigating a screen-filled world. And we all learned a lot about the effects of screen time, also tools to try and get your kids away from and engaged in healthy activities. And at the end of that night, as we were recapping, I was getting texts and phone calls from leaders saying, can we have Jody back? Can we have Jody back? Can we have Jody back? So it was never a question that we were going to invite her back, and we were thrilled when she said yes. So let me tell you a little bit about Jody. She is now, it's updated from what you see in print. She is a full-time certified parenting coach and consultant. Last year, she was kind of doing that, and she also had a full-time job. Now she's full on with this, and you'll know if you haven't heard her speak before, after her message tonight, you'll go, oh yeah, understand why. So it's just a privilege. Jody has the privilege of working with educators and parents as a coach consultant throughout the United States and specializes in working with individuals who desire growth and change for themselves and the people in their care. And that is you all, ladies. Every one of you that are going through our programs and are here at Pursuit are wanting to grow and change. Jody's experience as an educator includes over 30 years in public and private schools, working with students, parents in preschool, elementary, middle, and high school. So glean from her no matter your kid's age. She was a building principal at both the elementary and high school levels. Ooh, that's a broad spectrum. And in 2022, she earned her coaching certificate, and that's when she began her career as a coach. So join me in welcoming Jody Maddox.
Thank you. My goodness, that was very gracious, very kind. I've been told to stand still. I'm really bad at standing still. And I've been told to hold the mic close to my mouth. I like to talk with my hands. So maybe you'll be in charge of just like directing me back here and telling me to put my microphone. Ladies, it is so good to be with you. I mean, who's not ready for school to start? I don't even have kids in school anymore, and I'm ready for it to start. And I'm not a principal anymore, and I'm ready for it to start. This morning, I actually started in the home of a friend who is going through a divorce, and it's not going well. As you can probably maybe imagine and relate to all the things, but I got there at 7 o'clock, and I had to leave at 12:30, and ladies, worn out. I was just worn out. They had 3 kiddos. They were beautiful. They're great, but I'm not used to being with kids all day long, and we were going. But I felt like God's ministry, right? Here I am. I got to start my day with some kiddos, and that's what it's all about. Thank you for that intro. The parenting book that some of you won, a couple of years ago, when I started doing the parent coaching as an educator, I was like, we need a book, okay? I can't just talk. It's not me telling you how to be the best parent in the world. It's me listening to your family needs and values and priorities and routine and schedule, and together we are just kind of navigating the waters, and I help be a thinking partner along the way. So your family is very unique to you and your environment and your culture and your community, and so I can't tell you how to be the best parent in the world in your family, but I can help you in a lot of different other ways navigate the journey. So as I wrote the book and I came up with the title, Parenting with a Few F Words, when you tell your mom that you wrote a book and you named it Parenting with a Few F Words, she looks you right in the eye and she says, Jody, nobody's gonna buy that book. And I said, Henrietta, take your mind out of the gutter. These F words are fuel, focus, foster, follow, and forgive. And what that is it's a workbook. It's a workbook. The first chapter is fuel. It's about being mindful, which is what we're talking about tonight, finding your strengths, finding your child's strength, focusing on yourself. You can't serve from an empty cup. The second one, focus, is just a little child development 101, just so you know how a teenager is wired, just so you know how a middle schooler is wired, kind of thing. If you have a child with ADHD, we discuss that, neurodiversity. Foster and follow and forgive are each individual chapters also. But my gift to you, if you didn't win the book, is at the very back there is a QR code. See if I can find it. Anyway, it's not necessary, but there's a QR code, looks like this. And there's about 60 handouts that go with this. And we're gonna talk about one of the handouts. And so if you sign up for my newsletter, I'll send them to you, okay? So you might not have won the book, but I'll make sure you get the handouts, all right? All right, so let's dive in, because I don't have a lot of time, and I could nerd out about this conversation. And so I'm gonna ramble. So if you go in your green folder, pull this out, and then go ahead and pull this out. This is a very broad topic. And I've been given a gracious amount of time, but it's probably not enough. It's enough to like wet the whistle, just kind of get us interested. So we're just going to dive in. All right, and we're going to start with this slide. And I pulled this slide out of a PowerPoint when I usually talk about social emotional needs and anxiety. There are 35 slides, and I think you got 6. So you can tell how fast we're going to roll. But right here, executive functioning skills, we talked about this last year, all right? And just a little bit of a review. The executive function is in the frontal lobe of the brain. These items are not just given to us at birth. God gives us the ability to grow in these areas, develop these skills, and foster these skills. We have the capacity through His grace to do these things, but we have to learn them. That's the key. And so it's not like the color of our eyes or the color of our hair, like He's going to say, Jody, you're going to have blue eyes, go. Can't change it, that's how I am. He's going to say, Jody, you're going to have to learn how to focus. Jody, you're going to have to learn how to plan and prioritize. You're going to have to learn how to initiate a task. That all happens right here. It starts at age 0 all the way to age 25-ish, if not beyond. We learned last time that the screen time is robbing the frontal lobe from developing at the right pace and the peers that we once had from generations earlier. So if it feels like our children aren't processing information at the same rate that we did, you're right. There's science behind saying, yeah, it's happening. Okay, so tonight, we're just going to talk about impulse control, and we're just going to talk about emotional control, okay? It's kind of where anxiety lives. However, if you have a child who is anxious, or yourself, or your mother, or my mom right now, we just lost my dad in May, and she's going through a lot of anxiety, right? She's going through a lot. This is situational anxiety. They've been married 65 years. She was his caretaker for the last 5, and she's in it. And so you know what she's struggling with? Planning, prioritizing, working memory, organization, flexible thinking, task initiation. It's all right here, okay? So that's why it's important to know this is all brain-based. All right, the next conversation I want you to know is real quick before we jump into this. There's good anxiety and there's bad anxiety. Anxiety is God-given. He created it. It was His idea, okay? Here's some good anxiety. I am a little kiddo, and I'm gonna go have my first sleepover. A little nervous, because I like what I like, and my mom does what my mom does, and I kind of want all the things, but I kind of want to be a big deal too, and I kind of want to stay with my friends. I'm probably a little nervous. That's called anxiousness, and that's good. It tells you to perk up, be aware. This is a good opportunity. You might be nervous, but push through, because on the other end, it's probably going to be a lot of fun. Okay, here's some good anxiety. I'm walking through a parking lot, and it's kind of dark, and the lights haven't popped on yet. I'm kind of anxious. I'm looking around. What's going on? Where am I at? Is anybody else here? That's anxiety. That's God saying, be aware of your surroundings, okay? So there is good anxiety, and there is anxiety that is just temporary. Some people would not be able to come up here and speak on a microphone. God gave me the gift of gab. Bring on the microphone. Doesn't bother me. But doesn't mean I'm not a little anxious over there. Doesn't mean that the anxiety isn't real for some people to where they freeze and can't pop up. But that's good anxiety. And we know and we have learned that when we push through those anxious feelings, that are real. Sometimes they're in our tummy. Sometimes they're in our hands. Sometimes we feel it in our shoulder. Sometimes we feel it in our head. So when your kiddo is saying, I don't feel good, they probably don't. They are probably avoiding something because they don't feel good. Because our body can tell us physically, this doesn't feel right. I don't know if I can do it. So that's good anxiety. What is concerning anxiety? Concerning anxiety is holding us back from doing something. I really, really, really want to spend the night with my friend. I just can't do it. I can't do it. And it goes on and on and on. First grade, whatever. Second grade, okay. I could be an advocate for never going on. But anyway, you could. Sometimes I don't even think they need to do it. But anyway, that's another whole topic. So maybe it's holding me back from not experiencing social situations. Maybe it's holding me back from going to school. So concerning anxiety is ongoing. It doesn't stop, and it's getting worse. It's picking up momentum, and it's holding you from something that is good and healthy and necessary. Like going to school is necessary. Okay, so there is a difference. There is good anxiety. God gave us the ability to be aware of our body and our situation to say, oh, this is something to pay attention to. Ever been in a conversation with somebody and you get a little anxious because whatever they're saying, you're like, I don't know if, yeah, something to pay attention to. Okay, so good anxiety and also concerning anxiety. In order for any human, but specifically a child, we're now on this one, to communicate with you or other adults about their emotions, their fears, their anxiety, they have to be able to do 5 things, okay? The first one is they have to understand their feelings. And sometimes we send mixed signals about feelings. Here's an example. I'm running. I'm in parking lot, I slide, my leg is now all bruised up and I'm bleeding, and Mom looks at me and says, you're okay, come on, get up. It's kind of a mixed signal, okay? Today, I was at my friend's house watching her kiddos. And the neighbor, she had a little one that fell off, and we heard, and we both went, just to see if the child was gonna react. Veterans, we didn't say anything. He popped up and he went on. Okay, all right? If we were like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you all right? Like, we would have sent the wrong signal to him. Like, should I be aware that am I hurt? So sometimes we send mixed signals about what feelings are. Or sometimes we give them the answer. We look them in the eye and we say, how are you doing? Are you sad because that happened and they didn't call you and you weren't included? You're sad about it. And they're like, well, actually, I was kind of ticked off, but now I guess I'm sad, right? Sometimes we give them the wrong information, okay? And we get mixed signals. So a child has to understand their actual feeling. And sometimes they don't know. I don't know if I'm sad. I don't know if I'm frustrated. I don't know if I feel left out. Maybe I'm supposed to care, but I don't. Yeah. Okay, the next thing is relaxation. When a kiddo hits this level, they have to know how to bring themselves down. What did we learn last time? Anybody remember? We learned that this generation is relying on technology to bring them down, right? I don't want to go to bed. Here, honey, you can listen or watch, and that'll calm you down. I don't want to sit in Applebee's and be quiet the whole time. Here, honey, you can watch this and calm down, and it's okay. I don't want to stop working on my whatever in school. I want to Okay, 10 more minutes. Oh, now I'm calming down. Yeah, they have to learn how to bring themselves down. On my Facebook page, and there's some things in here, lots of good ideas on teaching a child how to calm down. The number one thing I would say, if you have not taught your child how to take a deep breath and slowly blow it out to reset their nervous system, take the time to learn and teach them how to do it. They have to know that their sadness, their frustration, their happiness, their goodness, their anxiety does not depend on you or a device. They have the capacity to manage it. And when I'm working with parents, that's a big thing that we have to untangle. By the time we have a middle school or high school student who is having trouble socializing, getting off of gaming, going to school, wanting to get a job, wanting to drive, any of these things, because they haven't been pushed in uncomfortable situations. But they don't realize that they have the capacity to push through. Okay, so they have to know how to relax themselves. The next thing is they have to understand their thoughts. Guess what? Not all thoughts are helpful. Not all thoughts are correct, valid, or necessary. And just because we're thinking it doesn't mean it's going to happen. It will happen. It might happen. But a person who is in the moment of anxious thoughts, they're reeling around that hoop, right? They're just on that hamster wheel and they're going because they're listening to their own thoughts. But they have to understand, and we have to tell them, sweetheart, not all thoughts are helpful. And you have to learn how to tell yourself and ask yourself, is this helpful? Have I been thinking about this so long that it's now holding me back? And what if this did happen? What would I do? They have to learn that their inner voice is their inner voice. They are the ones talking to themselves. They can stop the wheel. The next one is managing intense emotions. If we had more time, we would dive into the 4 stages of emotions. And I want you to just kind of think about a volcano. And I want you to think of the base of the volcano is green. The next level up, hello? I just lost it. The next level up, I'm pretty loud. The next level up is going to be yellow. Then we have orange and then red. So in the green zone, you can think logically. In the green zone, you can take in information, you can take advice, you can think rationally. In the green zone, okay? This isn't working either. And in the yellow zone, you can kind of regulate yourself, relax yourself to kind of get back to the green zone. When you are in the orange zone or the red zone, the last thing you want is advice. You need to calm down. Okay, well, I'm going higher now, right? You need to take a breath. You need to step outside. You need to check yourself. Okay, that's not happening. Or even like, I think you might be over-exaggerating. Are you sure that really happened? She's a nice girl. She probably didn't mean it. Okay, that does not help anybody in the yellow and red zone. But as a parent, what we need to figure out is like, I think my kid is in the orange or red zone. I'm tapping out. I'm going to talk about this later on. And it is 100% okay to walk away, leave it, and then when they're back in the green zone, could be a day later, could be 2 hours later, you say, hey, I want to talk about last Tuesday. I just want to tell you, in our home, we're not going to talk to each other that way. It's not the voice you're going to use with me, and I'm going to try really hard not to use that voice with you, but I'm the adult. And when you talk to me like that, I have a hard time listening. Okay, that conversation means more when your child is in the green zone. When you say, do not talk to me that way. In my home, you do not, and he's in or she's in the red zone, they're probably going to talk to you that way. They're just going to go right back at you. Okay, so the zones of regulation, they have to understand that the emotions are in their control. And we have to teach them that. And they can manage it. And then the last one is mindfulness. Now, mindfulness, when I was going through my coaching training, and it's a year long, in the first 8 weeks, I'm going to learn about self-care and mindfulness. I'm not going to lie. I said to myself, I have 0 time for hydration and yoga mats. Like, if that's what I'm getting out of this, it's going to drive me crazy. I was a full-time principal at the time. I was in charge of 580 kids. I'm like, forget it. Okay, of course, I was schooled a little bit, and I learned quite a bit. Mindfulness is just being right here. Right here. It's really hard. When we parent from the past or from the future, we teach our kids to stay in the past, fear the future. Let's see what it looks like. Here's the past. Here we go again. I knew you were going to do that. Every time this comes up, you always go right there. I am so tired of that kind of attitude. That's the past. That just reminds your kiddo, like, you still kind of suck at this. Here you are, typical you. Okay, so that one's bad. That one's bad. Here's the future. If you don't do this now, you're never going to be able to do it in high school. If you don't do this now, you're never going to get on the team. If you don't do this now in high school, you're never going to get a job. Well, nobody's motivated by scare tactic. Doesn't work. But also, do you know what that teaches our kids? You should be anxious about the future. You're not equipped. And then we're just kind of twisting the knife. So mindfulness is right here. The kid just did something. They do it all the time. You don't have to remind them. They know. And I actually love working with parents of middle school and high school because you don't have to say another rule ever again in your life. They have heard them all. They've heard them loud, soft. You probably wrote them down one time. You probably even sang them to them one time. They know. So you repeating them over and over is good for you, probably. It just feels good. It's good for you, the mom. So you should do it. But for them, it's not helpful. Okay? For them, what they need to hear is this. Well, that didn't work, did it? Guess we better start over. Where should we start? It's a totally different conversation. You didn't own it for them. You didn't rub their nose in it. And we're going to have to face this. I have a saying when I had kids that wouldn't come to school because of whatever. And a lot of times parents dropped them off and they were yelling I learned a lot of words on those drop-offs. I mean, they had things coming out. I'm like, wow, that's a new one. Haven't heard that one. Fine. I would tell the parents, I don't really care. Just drop them off. That whole production, those theatrics are for you. And when they came in, I looked them right in the eye and I said, I promise you, I won't ask you to do anything I don't think you're capable of doing. If we had an assembly that day, I don't think you're ready for an assembly. Sit here, take a deep breath. Let's get ready for first hour. You can say that. Like, we're going to do this. And it might not happen right now. Take a minute. Get your head in the game. We'll deal with that in a minute. Okay? Mindfulness is right here. Don't parent from the past. Stay away from the future. Mindfulness is right here. Okay, good. I'm not allowed to ask if you have any questions. The next thing is boundaries. Kids have to have boundaries. What do boundaries have to do with anxiety? When I look at teachers, I'm going to talk about teachers right now. I'm not going to pick on parents. I'm going to pick on teachers. When I work with teachers and I say, how do you teach a child to focus? Do you know what they say? They don't. I don't know. But we spend a lot of time going, you need to focus. Focus. Look at me. Focus. Calm down. Could you please focus? You need to focus. Everybody focus. Are we focusing? Okay. Eyes on me. Let's focus. Okay. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. In order to teach a child how to focus, we have to tell them what to focus on. I need you to focus on me. I'm going to say 3 things that are important. One has to do with your head, one has to do with your hands, and one has to do with your feet. I'll check back in. Boom. Now I'm over here. Now she knows what to focus on, right? You need to clean up your room. I want you to go upstairs. My kid would just be walking around and eventually do Legos. But upstairs, I want no clothes on the floor. I want them in a hamper, and I want your bed made. Those are the 3 things that my ADHD boy needed to focus on. Okay. When we know what the expectation is, and we are consistently held accountable for it, we become independent. Oh, is that how it happens? Yeah, that's how it happens. Okay? And so if you want your kid to focus, if you want your kid to manage their emotions, If you want them to plan and prioritize whatever, they have to know how you will consistently react to their whatever. That's a boundary. That's a boundary. And it is actually teaching independence. And when I feel independent and capable, do you know what I feel less of? Big word. Shout it out. Starts with an A. Anxiety. I feel capable. Oh, my goodness. I do look better in the dark. It's okay. When I feel independent and I feel capable, I am not anxious. Guess what teaches us to be independent? Boundaries. They provide security. It eliminates the entitlement. That's another whole topic. Solid sense of self. I understand what my family values. You want your kid to say, I can't do that, my mom will kill me. You want that, right? That teaches them that last one, learning healthy limits, and then healthy social skills. So boundaries help a child feel independent and capable, which actually teaches them how to be less anxious. The anxiety comes from the what if, or the I don't know, or oh my gosh. Okay, that's where the anxiety comes from. Okay, I'm moving and I'm grooving. Here's some easy tips. Keep it simple. Less is more. You don't have to say a lot. If you are angry, take a deep breath and give them the death stare and just walk away. I'm not going to say you're not going to get angry. You're going to get angry. But your energy sets the tone, okay? And if they're already anxious about going back to school or about spending the night at grandma's house or whatever, your energy is feeding whether or not they should sit and rest in the anxiousness, okay? They're going to feed off of your energy. The next thing is, it's okay for kids to be upset with you. It's okay for kids to have big feelings. It's okay for them to get angry. It's okay for them to get ticked off. It's okay for them to be happy, sad, whatever. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Doesn't mean you have to solve it. Doesn't mean you have to fix it. Affirm it, and then tell them, we'll tackle it together. Sorry you feel that way. That does sound tough. We're going to figure this out together. Every time you own their feelings, they don't know that they actually own their feelings. So when you start getting in it with them, then they think you're responsible and you have all the power. You don't have all the power. You feel like you do, but you don't. You don't. And you don't want to have all the power. You want them to, this is on you. That was a horrible decision. That was a horrible decision. I would have anxiety if I made that decision also. But we can get through this together. Take a minute. We'll talk about it later. Okay, next one. Use natural consequences. Use natural consequences. If they forgot it, they forgot it. Don't bring it to them. Because what happens is, if you run it up to them, they're anxious until you run it up to them. Is she coming? Is she not coming? Is she coming? But that boundary, like my mom ain't coming. They need to know that. This is on you. You didn't bring it. We drove all the way to Springfield, Missouri, and you didn't bring your soccer shoes. That is odd, okay? And someone didn't play soccer. That was odd. And he had to ride back in the car with his father. That was bad. Okay, remember? Big emotions, behaviors are needs. Okay, iceberg time. This might be the most important thing I say. Everybody grab their iceberg. I want to wander. I'm coming back. Behaviors are needs. So sometimes anxiety comes out in a behavior. Look at the top of the iceberg. You, the parent, see this. Anger, negativity, lack of focus, overplanning, irritability, sleep issues, and avoidance. That's what it looks like. That's what anxiety looks like. They're sassy, they're loud, they won't come out of the room, they're only gaming, they don't want to sit at the dinner table with us. That's what you see. You see the behavior. Look underneath. at the bottom of the iceberg. The need is at the bottom. So when a child is anxious, there's a need. They're communicating something. A behavior is some type of communication. Behaviors are needs. Behaviors are needs. It's not about you. They're going to tell you it's about you. They're going to tell you you're ugly, you're dumb, you even smell. It's not about you. You don't look them right in the eye and go, I'm sorry, you feel that way. This is not about me. It isn't. Okay? Look at the needs. When parents contact me, it's not because they're having a great family life, right? Things are going great. Let's call Jody and see what else we can do. That isn't how it works. But at the bottom of this, when they have a teenager or even little, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they're struggling, they look at the top. I don't show them the bottom, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's my kid. Yes, oh, my gosh. Oh, absolutely, all those things. And then I show them the bottom, and a lot of times the moms cry. Because if you knew that your child was chronically fatigued because the wheel is just spinning, and they can't stop thinking about the thing. They're on the wheel. And that's when they have to learn to say, wait a minute, I've been thinking about this a long time. Is this rational? They won't say that to themselves. They'll say, is this true? Do I need to tell my mom about this? What if this did happen? Would I even really care? They have to learn to do the self-talk. If you found out that your child was struggling with grief, they were overanalyzing, they're overwhelmed with sensory overload, they feel worthless or lonely, you would stop traffic and pick up a Ford F-150 on your back if you thought your child felt like they were worthless. Okay, so I want you to just look at this and say, behaviors are needs. So when your kid, behaviors are needs. When your kid is sassy, if it happens once, it happens once. But if it is going on for weeks, we're on week 1, 2, and 3 of the bad attitude, you better ask yourself, what is going on? Because that is anxiety. That child is worried about something. They do not have those 5 things. Remember those 5 things? They have to be able to tell you what the feeling is. They probably can't. They don't even know. They have to understand that their thoughts are in their control. They definitely are listening to their own thoughts. Okay? It's 7:15. I mean, I kind of did it. I hate to just have a hard stop, but I feel pretty good. Here's the thing. There is good anxiety. There is not so good anxiety. We're not looking for perfect kids. We're looking for kids that are capable. That's it. We're just trying to grow capacity. We want them to know, this is tough, you can do it. This is tough, you can do it. We're going to do it together. Okay? Thanks for having me. I went really fast, but that's it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Such practical things. This is tough. We'll get through it. Moms, when you come to our programs and our workshops, what do you hear? This is tough, but you can get through it. So just carry that to your kids, right? So I want you to think for a moment before we sign off, what are you going to implement when you walk out of this room tonight, when you walk out of that room, when you turn off the TV from watching us? Because the just simple, easy steps are easy to implement. What are you going to do? Is it going to be boundaries? Is it going to be natural consequences? You're not going to jump in that car and take that book or that backpack or whatever was forgotten. What are you going to do? And those moms, those of you that have adult kids like I do, what are you going to use? Because you and I know that we deal with our adult kids and they have anxiety and they give us anxiety and that never leaves. So what are we going to do with what we learned? So as we sign off tonight, I want you to think about that. If you're just watching us, what happens next is we come off of YouTube and here at Life Mission and there at Colonial, we discuss in small groups and have some community time and encourage each other to take our steps and implement them. So good night, everyone. Come back and see us next month, and you all can just go into small groups here at Life Mission.